Hey yo, what's good YouTube? It's your boy Vincent, back again with more knowledge. I just had a friend reach out asking for tips about interviews. So for today's topic, we're going to talk about how you can ace your interviews. Oh yeah, I just wanted to say, if you didn't know, the market is really hot right now and recruiters are just banging on that door. I've had a lot of companies reaching out and I didn't want to say no because nothing wrong with free interview prep. Also, just wanted to know, even though you're happy at your current job, there's nothing wrong with interviewing. You'll get to learn about what other companies are doing and also what you're missing out. Or maybe you'll even realize that you're very spoiled at your current company. So there's nothing wrong with interviewing. It's a skill that you should work on every year. This way you can keep your interviewing skills sharp. And maybe you'll make a new friend. This video will be broken down into 3 parts. 1. How to prepare for an interview. 2. How to apply for jobs. And 3. How to do well in an interview. Before we get started, make sure you like this video. And now let me tell you how to kill those interviews. Interviews are hard and definitely not something that comes naturally. I like to think of interviews as a game. Your goal is to practice and practice and practice so that way you can beat that final boss.
AKA the interview.
The hard part isn't studying, but rather getting yourself mentally prepared for it. To be honest, after a long day of work or school, it's very mentally draining to study for interviews. My advice is to figure out what your motivation is. Is it for more money, or is it because you hate your current job? Make sure you figure that out and use that as your motivation. In general, I like to give myself around 1 to 2 months to study, where I'll be doing around 1 leak code question a day or maybe even 2 during the weekends. I tried to read this book, but it's just way too thick. I would rather just do leak code questions because I can get feedback instantly and I can find the solutions very easily. My 2 cents here is that you should focus on quality over quantity. More specifically, you should focus on questions based on topics. Here's a quick list of topics that you should study and be comfortable with before your interview. Next, let's talk about job applications. You can think of this like a number game. The more jobs you apply to, the more chances of you getting an interview. So basically, try to apply to as many jobs as possible. You can check out job boards like LinkedIn or AngelList. Or if you have the time, feel free to go to company websites and apply directly on their careers page. Also, feel free to ask your friends for referrals because those help a lot as well. So when you're applying for a lot of jobs, it's also a good idea to stay organized. One way you can do this is by creating a Google Sheet. Here is an old example. So I tracked the company names, the link I used to apply, quick notes about the company and their location, whether I got rejected, and also what stage I am currently on in the interview process. In addition, while you are applying for jobs, you should also rank them based on how happy you would be if you get the offer. This step is super important because in the end, you can only take 1 job offer. Once you start hearing back from recruiters, try your best to schedule your interviews such that your least favorite companies are at the beginning and your most preferred companies is at the end. The purpose of this is so that way if you bomb an interview, it's not the end of the world because it's not your top choice company. Remember, interviews are like a video game. You're not going to win them all, but a loss is still a loss. By following this strategy, it will help mitigate negative feelings. Remember, interviews are a mental game. And if you're feeling down, it may affect your performance. In addition, this strategy also prepares you for the interviews that matter the most. By the time you start interviewing for your top companies, you're going to be on fire. You're going to be so prepared. You're going to walk into that interview with mad confidence and you're just going to stare at the interviewer and be like, yo, what's good? Give me that job offer. Just kidding, but you get the point. Also, if you hate preparing for interviews, this strategy is great for getting free preparation because technically each interview is basically 1 leak code question. Alright, now let's actually talk about the interview, aka the final boss. A typical interview will generally follow this format. The first 5 minutes will be for introductions, then the next 50 minutes is for the technical question. Finally, the last 5 minutes is for you to ask any questions that you want. So during the first 5 minutes, try to keep it short and sweet. If you talk too much, you're going to eat into the time for your technical interview. For me, I generally say something along these lines. Hi, I'm Vincent. Nice to meet you. I've been working at company XYZ for X years, and I specialize in iOS development. I've recently worked on Z project, and I am super excited to learn more about your company. After the quick intros, the interviewer will then give you the prompt for the question. Now it's a good time to listen and also take notes. After the interviewer finishes telling you the question, try to repeat it back to them in your own words. This ensures that both of you guys are on the same page. Next, if you have any questions, feel free to ask the interviewer. You don't want to spend 30 minutes doing some crazy solution that has nothing to do with the problem. When I first started interviewing, I made a huge rookie mistake. The first thing I would do is just jump straight into code. This is a huge red flag, and I highly recommend that you be vocal during an interview. Try to tell the interviewer what you're thinking and how you want to approach the problem. Remember, an interview is a two-way conversation between the interviewer and the candidate. If you get stuck, the interviewer wouldn't be able to help you because they don't know what's going on in your head. So make sure to be vocal so that way you can ask for hints and also get the help when you need it. As someone who conducts interviews regularly, I like it when the candidates are vocal. It allows me to follow along with what they're trying to do, and if I see them get stuck, I can jump in and point them in the right direction. Once you and the interviewer are aligned on a solution, that's when you can start coding. Another rookie mistake that I made in the past is that I would dig myself a hole. I would try to solve the problem in one way, and before I knew it, time ran out and I failed the interview. To combat this, I would highly recommend time boxing yourself, maybe around 10 minutes. If you can't reach the solution within that time frame, pull yourself out of that hole and try to think differently. Or just ask the interviewer if you're on the right track and whether they can give you a hint. Once you have working code, try to write some tests and check for edge cases. This is good to do because it shows that you care about code quality. After that, you can just talk about the runtime and the space complexity of your solution. At this point, your 50 minutes would probably be up, and you either completed the question or you didn't. But that's not the end of the world because you got a lot more interviews to go. Now the last 5 minutes of the interview is for you to ask any questions that you have about the company. I generally like to ask questions about the work culture and also the stack that the company uses. I want to gauge whether I want to work at this company and whether it's the right fit for me. So make sure you ask questions that will help you make the decision of whether you want to work there or not. Anyways, that's basically how I approach interviews. And now let me summarize the key takeaways. Number 1, quality over quantity for leak code problems. Number 2, it's a number game, so apply to as many jobs as possible. It's free. Number 3, rank companies based on least favorite to most favorite, and then schedule the interviews based on rankings. Number 4, be vocal and talk through your solution. Number 5, treat this like a game where you're training to beat that final boss. Good luck, and I hope you get your dream job. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and sub for more content. Peace.